we are now ready to start phase two. And so phase two is about really putting the Abilitech data as the focus. And I want you to think about this as, let's say the general is going strong, they're using their own data to help predict things, and now they have received this Abilitech data and they want to figure out how they can use it. So what you're going to do as an analyst here is you're going to help the CEO of the general really and truly feel like what they purchased is good and something they can use. And so you're going to do that basically three different ways. You're going to first look at bringing that data together with other aspects. But first, even before that, just looking at the Abilitech data, I want you to see if you can see any types of clusters within the types of customers that you have. And so looking at doing some cluster analysis with that Abilitech data. Second then is looking at predicting the master quoted total payment. And therefore you have to figure out what goes together. How do I clean my data? Do I drop columns, create dummy variables, use the label encoder, all of that, and then create a predictive model for the quoted total payment. And then finally, using some classification modeling, looking at what you think is risk, and you come up with what that target variable will be, whether it's any policy where they made a claim, any claim within 30 days, if it's a large claim, all of those kind of things you can determine. And then using the data that you have available to you, can you predict whether they will or will not be that risk in that case? So the data that you're going to use is going to be your current Abilitech data. So you're still going to have to tie to that. You're still going to have to use all of the code that you've already used to get down to the number of Abilitech fields that you have. But then I'm giving you three new ones here for phase two, the general claim master trans, and then the master quote. And you can use these any way you'd like to come up with the answers that you need. You'll be turning in one Jupyter Notebook, but you're also going to do a little bit more. You're also going to create a two-pager, and I say 2 pages, basically it can be a 1-pager, but I'll let you use up to 2 pages that you're going to hand to me on either May 5th or 6th. In other words, you're turning that in and showing it to me during your presentation that you're going to have either on, again, May 5th or May 6th. So on those 2 days, whatever time slot you have, you're going to have 20 minutes. And so really it's about having a 15-minute presentation. It should be as if you're done. And then we'll talk for those last couple of minutes. Why'd you do this? Could you have done that? I think you should do this. And you're going to walk me through your story, how you are going to show me that using that Abilitech data will help us and what the results are based on that. So really focus on your ability to tell a story with a 2-pager as well as your Jupyter Notebook. This should be a clean Jupyter Notebook. This is something you'd be turning in. So I don't need to see a bunch of other things that you experimented with. This one should be nice and clean, where phase 1, that was meant to be a lot of playing around. And then for your actual grading for the project, the possible points are listed here, where obviously I want to see that you understand the problem that you're going after. I want to see that in your Jupyter Notebook as well in your 2-pager. The type of data prep that you did, how did you eliminate or change different columns, your cluster analysis, your model or models for quoted total payment, your models for risk, your presentation, obviously, and then your 2-pager. I will also say that if you're unprepared for that presentation or you're not done with these sections, you will lose points. So it's not having everything done on May 5th. You have from whenever you do your presentation to May 8th, you have from your presentation to May 8th to fix any small things, but during your presentation, I do expect it to be done. So that's the points. And then I'm just going to go back again, and I want to stress that you are telling a story to me about why this Abilitech data will help us. Think of it as you're the person that wanted me to purchase this for the general, and I spent a ton of money, and now you got to show me why it's important and how it's going to make a difference, and some of the results based on that. Okay, so we're playing a little bit of make-believe. We're going to do that. I'm not going to be a mean CEO, but I will take that role on during our presentation. And then that's it. That's your phase 2. The last little bit that I'll mention is none of the links for the Abilitech data are different. They're all the same. So whatever you have in your code for phase 1 will work. But I do give you 3 new ones for the new phase 2 data. So use these 3. Don't use what you've already made or anything like that. That way what you're going to use is matched to mine. And that's what you're going to use for your projects. So, and I did go and do all of this myself. So I'm going to quickly go through. You can see where I've brought all my data in. I'm playing around with it. Let's see, here's my one I did for classification. Some of the different variables that I changed. Get down into it, and I do get a result somewhere. Which, again, my Abilitech data is different than yours and not that bad of a classification model. Of course, what I do notice is that wasn't bad, but I did not predict many, so I'd probably go in and add some weights, some class weights to change this one and things like that. So, again, your result should be drastically different because your Abilitech data is different than mine. So.